a 29-28, 2-1 Matt Korobov. You know, Jim, I thought he won rounds 1 and 2. They were terrible rounds where nobody did nothing, but I thought Korobov landed the strongest shots. In round 3, that left hand that Andy Lee landed really staggered Korobov. That won him the round, and I was very surprised that Andy Lee just didn't jump right back on him. I mean, he hurt him. He should have jumped right back on him and tried to get him out of there. Anyway, 2-1, Matt Korobov.
Okay, I'm going to show you the knockout. Matvey Korobov, very highly decorated amateur. He is going to be fighting Jermall Charlo, stepping in for Willie Monroe this weekend, December the 22nd. It is 3:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, December the 18th, 2018. So, the new PBC on Fox premieres this Saturday with Jermall Charlo headlining because he won a coin flip against Matvey Korobov. It was supposed to be Willie Monroe Jr., but Willie Monroe, according to the WBC and VADA, failed a drug test for a testosterone booster. They have not stated what that drug is. We got a lot to talk about. So, Jermall Charlo is going to be defending his WBC 154-pound title against Tony Harrison. In my personal opinion, and I did a little Twitter poll, I guess, and here on our community page on, YouTube, people are a lot more interested in Charlo versus Matvey Korobov, even though he's only had one fight in 2 years or something like that, right? Than they are in him fighting Willie Monroe. I really didn't want to see the Willie Monroe fight. Once again, Korobov, very highly decorated amateur. He fought, this was when he fought Andy Lee for that title that Peter Quillen had vacated. Career has never been the same since. 28-1 with 14 KOs. 35 years old. He's had one fight since November of 2016 against Jonathan Batista, and that was at 175. The weight for this fight is going to be 162. And as you can see, he lost to Andy Lee back in 2014. And then Andy Lee went on to lose to Billy Joe Saunders. And Billy Joe Saunders went on to be stripped of that title because he took a drug by the name of Ozoxofrene. And strength and conditioning coach Victor Conte was very, very upset. But guess what? If I'm correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Victor Conte the strength and conditioning coach for Willie Monroe? Willie Monroe released a statement on his Instagram saying that he's clean and he don't know what happened and all kind of stuff like that. Also on social media, people are going in on Victor Conte. It's like, yo, you was talking all that shit when the Charlos missed that drug test. You was talking all that shit when Billy Joe Saunders failed that drug test. Now, what's if it is true? Because from my understanding, damn, what was going on? From my understanding, Willie Monroe, Demetrius Andrade, and Danny Jacobs are all involved in this program. And, of course, they're all fighting at 160 pounds. But yet, Mr. Victor Conte here has been pretty quiet. Pretty quiet. And if you go look at some of the stuff he's been, for example, let me just go type his name in. That's his system. Let's go full screen. I'm going to follow this. This is him.
Product ZMA. The tremendous success of ZMA has produced many less effective copycat products in the marketplace called Z this or Z that. If you'd like to learn why these inferior...
So he's like a PED guru. I'm not going to say he is a PED guru. I'm just saying it just looks weird. it just comes across. Look, this is if you don't know who this guy is, all snack boxers are not allowed to use any products unless Victor Conte proves it. So this testosterone booster statement is completely bogus. It's Conte his old trick to boost it. You know, I don't know. Him right here used to be like, from my understanding, used to be the understudy. He is the strength and conditioning coach, was of Marquez, is of Badu Jack, Jean Pascal, a lot of fighters, and has a very shady history himself. But it's looking bad. It's a really big scandal brewing. And since right now the details are too slim and, slim to none, I'm going to be careful with this and tread real lightly. Because this system right here is looking real suspect. But we have to wait. It's too early to tell. I don't be passing judgments on fighters when it's just one sample. It's too early to tell. For example, people still think the Alexander Povetkin shit. Don't know all the details. Luis Ortiz, he really do got high blood pressure, but it looked like he was trying to do some sneaky shady shit because he didn't declare it on the form. But maybe he didn't do it because he probably knew, oh shit, this shit can be used as a diuretic or something like that. Let's go look at the PBC on Fox card. Thank God it's an early card. I'm going to actually be out there, by the way. I was going to spill the beans when we got to the fight, but we have credentials. We have beat that war. Thank you, Magna Media. It's over. So people saying, your credentials, this and that, we got them. And see, here's the reason why it's a big event. Because of how much it's the first of their new deal, so all the big wigs are going to be there, and they really want to kick this shit off right. So it's a real bad look for Willie Monroe to fail a drug test and have a late step in. So you got Jermall Charlo, Tony Harrison, Jermall Charlo, Matvey, Korobov, Dominic Bazile versus Carlos Negron, Terrell Goucher versus Joey Hernandez, Francis Barthélemy, Robert Fingal, Luden Barthélemy, Thomas Hernandez, Efe Ajagba, remember him, the guy walked out the ring. Solid card, not a great card. It's more of a status premiere type card. The better PBC on Fox cards are going to come later on. If you don't know, PBC on Fox is also hosting their first pay-per-view with Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence. Also, the next one will be Keith Thurman's return. What's that, January the 12th or something like that? Or the 26th. But if you've looked at they have a lot of new original programming for PBC on Fox. Even some new Twitter pages. What's this?
I'm Jermall Charlo, the WBC most prestigious champion in the world.
Tony Superbad Harrison, 27-2, 21 knockouts.
Well, I messed up with a stud from Detroit, Michigan. He has a city on his back.
I think this is for Jermall. Well, we're going to do Jermall and Tony Harrison's video tomorrow. But I guess what I'm saying is this: I don't want to be too this video to be too long. But Jermall Charlo is in a really good situation. Let me break it down to you as simply as I can, without being all long-winded and shit. He has the WBC interim championship. What that means is he's the mandatory for Canelo Alvarez. Canelo has the WBC, the WBA. He has the WBA. He has the WBC, WBA Super World at 160, WBA World at 168. Danny Jacobs, IBF, WBO, Demetrius Andrade. Right? People have been saying Jermall Charlo needs to hurry up and sign with the Zone because he ain't gonna be able to get no fights over there with Showtime and or PBC or Al Heyman or Fox or whoever. Under that umbrella, he's not gonna be able to get the big fights. Actually, he can, because what's gonna happen is sometime next year, the WBC, unless it's a unification, and there is 2 unifications he can do, unless Saul Canelo Alvarez fights Danny Jacobs in May and then goes on to fight Demetrius Andrade in September, the WBC, unless They'll let him unless he fights those two back to back. The WBC will order him to fight Jermall Charlo if Jermall Charlo still has that belt, which he should. What happens is they're going to give them 30 days to get a deal done. If the deal is not done, they're going to order what's called a purse bid, where the belt or the fight is auctioned off, meaning that any promoter can bid on it. That means Top Rank can bid on it, the Zone, Showtime. Now, of course, Canelo can't go anywhere because of his contract with the Zone. Remember a situation where Kovalev was ordered, Adonis Stevenson was ordered to fight Kovalev, but Kovalev couldn't take the purse bid deal or be involved in a purse bid because of his contract with HBO. I've been doing this for quite some time. So the point, I guess, to give you a better understanding is Canelo's going to have to either drop that belt, or the Zone and PBC Al Heyman are going to go into a war where it's going to be like, how much do you bid for the fight? We the Zone, just arbitrary numbers. We bid 20 million. No, well, let's say 33 million because Canelo makes 33 million. We bid 33 million. And Showtime Al Heyman says we're going to bid 40 million. And that's how it goes. Whoever wins gets the rights to the fight. Therefore, Canelo would have to either drop his belt or come over to PBC Al Heyman's side, whether it's PBC on Fox or Showtime. They would put it on pay-per-view, obviously, if they were to win. And if the Zone were to put up all that money, right, if they were to win the purse bid, put up 45 million, then Charlo would be going over to the Zone. Al Heyman would not stop that. It would be stupid for him to stop that, for his fighter to be making all that money. So I'm just like just touching on the surface just a little bit. We're going to talk more about it in a stream when we do the final press conference on Thursday. So you can have a better understanding, because it's not just enough time in this video for me to tell you how like the boxing politics work and how Jermall Charlo is actually in a really, really good situation. He's going to get a super payday, you know, more than his brother, you know, even if he goes on a unification. So we're going to talk to him hopefully this weekend. I'm not going out there for the fight week events, but I will be going out there for the fight, obviously. And we're just going to go from there. But there is a lot of nice original content they're putting on. However, I don't like that they act like nothing outside of the PBC universe doesn't exist. You should go follow the Fox. They have a PBC on Fox Twitter page now, and they're starting to load it up with content. They have a show called Inside PBC Boxing. And IBF also, Jarrett Hurds. Good to see also their own version of All Access, watered down for television, obviously, because, you know, we're not saying HBO 24/7 anymore. That's just dead. You know, watered down for TV, where, like, you know, looks at the lives of the Charlo brothers, you know, things like that. This is the setup for their new show. We're a little behind, but we're going to make sure we're caught up with all this and letting you know what's going on by the end of the week. Well, before we head out to New York on Saturday.
And your mandatory is Kell Brook. What do you think about him? What do you think about that fight?
I always wanted to fight with Kell Brook. You know, that was a way for me to reach out to the UK fans also. You know, but, you know, Kell Brooks, he's a kind of a fighter that comes off 147. I'm not sure if he wants to take.
Also, if Golovkin goes over to, if Golovkin goes over to Showtime, then rest assured he's going to be fighting Charlo on pay-per-view. And if Golovkin goes over to Showtime, like, that's going to be crazy. I got to give the man, like, much props for that. Even if he is going over there for the money still, like, they're going there for Charlo, because you know they're bringing him over there for Charlo and possibly maybe Swift Hurd at 160. You know? So I imagine Showtime to go hard at Golovkin to try to bring him over because they want to try to compete with the Zone. Golovkin has met with the Zone, ESPN, and Showtime, obviously. But I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. So remember, I'm going to be doing my Jermall Charlo, Tony Harrison video tomorrow. And then during the final press conference stream, we're going to be able to talk about the fights in more detail, especially about Matvey Korobov. The fight's going to be at 162 pounds. And more about the 160-pound division. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.